and welcome to another episode, a special episode because it's the Solden review on the Skiing is Believing podcast, brought to you by Ski Racing Media. Alan,
Yes.
how was your ski racing full weekend?
Well, it was full of surprises, full of disappointments, full of excitement, and some damn good skiing.
Very good. That's what we like to hear. We have got Eurosport and FIS TV commentator Ian Findlay back with us. How was your weekend?
Oh, so happy because there was ski racing on the TV, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I got a chance to sit down and watch it. It was just two fantastic races, which I know we're going to get into. So yeah, just really enjoyed being able to watch ski racing again.
Yeah. It's fantastic. We sort of you're going through Instagram now, and there's so many posts from all the athletes that have been missing throughout the summer. But we have got ski racing back, and this is how it went down. It was women's GS, as you know, in Solden on Saturday. The men followed on the Rettenbach on Sunday. Let's start with Saturday and the ladies first, as is the motto for Solden. The first run was led by Michaela Schifrin, who went down with bib number 1 and looked in cruise control. Robinson, 0.22 back. Brignone, just 0.4 off the pace. Going into that second run, Katie Hensium came down with what turned out to be the fastest second run from bib number 47 and had the lead. She was there with her compatriot Nina O'Brien, both of them returning from very long injury layoffs, and they were in the top 2 until Julia Scheib came down for Austria, 14th in the first run, and she smashed the time, as it turned out, stayed there until Federica Brignone, third from the first run. As I said, she took the lead from Scheib by well over a second. Then it was Robinson's turn. She missed Brignone's time by just 0.17 of a second, and it all came down to Michaela Schifrin. As usual, that is quite often the scenario, and she missed Brignone's time by 1.21 seconds and had to settle for 5th. That's a very brief and quick overview of an action-packed day, Alan, that started with the news that Lara Gut-Behrami wasn't going to start.
Yeah, that was a big shock. Before it even started, you feel as though you're going to go, oh, here we go again. You know, something's wrong and we haven't even started. But it turned out to be a good day.
Yeah, you said at the start that there was big shocks and big disappointments, and that news was both of those for Gut-Behrami. She seemed like she had a cold throughout October. She went to the inspection feeling 90%. She said it was the knee injury. Obviously very sensible, Ian, to not take any risks. But if you've seen her interview sort of that was shown during the first run, she was very emotional and very sad that she was missing this race.
Yeah, it's a big shame, firstly, for her not to be able to start, and after, no doubt, so much effort over the summer, the off season, to get in shape, because she obviously wants to defend as many of those globes as she can. But it's credit to her for being sensible, that she's one of the most experienced athletes out on the circuit. You're probably not going to win this globe in the first race, but you can certainly lose it. It's a bit of a cliche. And if you're not at 100%, you don't feel mentally ready to race or in the right frame of mind to race, that's when it gets very, very risky, especially on a hill like this with the altitude as well. So she's made the right decision for her. And of course, we'd have all loved to have seen her in the race, but you just have to step back and respect the decision that she's made. And, we support her and hope that she's able to start. It'll be a Beaver Creek next for the women and for Gut, won't it? She's not going to be doing the slaloms. So, it was a shame, but she's experienced and she's a wise character, and made no doubt the right call for herself.
Yeah, I think there's those races a couple of weeks before, the GS in Killington, and then
that's it, isn't it?
The two GSs in Mont Tremblant as well. So
okay, glad you're here.
I can't imagine it. Well, we're hoping it's not going to last for another 4 weeks, and that she will be over in the US for that part of the tour. Right, where do I start here? Federica Brignone, oldest women's World Cup winner. She continues to do what she's been doing for so many years. 70th World Cup podium, 5th in Solden. She's actually, obviously, either side of the summer now, won 3 giant slaloms in a row, which is something that hasn't been done for an Italian for nearly 17 years. You know, it's credit to her. And this, what we talked about in the preview, Ian, she's knocking on the door week by week of legendary status.
She's just brilliant. She's only just turned 34. And whilst 34 in the past was a little bit older in ski racing terms, it's not now with the sports science and medical support. These athletes know how to train and manage their bodies and manage their mind as well. And you know, the way she's skiing, she'd go for another 5 years, at least. And she's just getting better and better. She's a smarter ski racer. She's always been smart. But boy, did she go for it. Like, she wanted that. It was fantastic to watch. She was very aggressive on the first run, I felt. But you never writing an athlete like Brignone out when it comes to run 2, especially in Solden. You know that Schifrin's, it's not quite her favorite hill, is it? So I think we were all like, Schifrin's first run, like, wow. And I heard, with Nick Fellows last week, she was skiing great, wasn't she? That was the word from Nick, was the word around the circuit, and it looked that way after run 1. But Brignone did her thing, kept herself in touch. What a start to the season for her. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, you're speaking to Mr. Michaela Schifrin over here, but you've got to credit Brignone.
yeah, I wouldn't discredit anybody. I mean, I still think after that first run, she looked very comfortable. And I have this theory that she won't put herself on the line at all this year. If she doesn't, she'll do the first run. If it's a bit rough on the second, she'll do what she wants to do. She won't push it. I don't think she'll push it. She don't want to risk anything. And I also have a little theory, which you'll snigger at, is I think she wants to get 100 in Killington.
I'm not going to snigger. I'm going to absolutely agree. I was just about to say, we're talking about this 100, but there's no rush at all.
No.
All right, she's going to want to win, and she's going to want to win the Globes.
Don't get me wrong. But I'm not saying that
there's no rush.
I'm not saying she threw it. What I'm saying is she won't. I don't think she'll lay everything down if she doesn't feel as though she needs to. Because she's another intelligent lady, isn't she? Yeah.
There's a couple of more Americans to talk about.
Yeah.
They had their best team day at a World Cup giant slalom, I believe, since 1985. Well, that's what Michaela Schifrin's post said. Katie Hensian, unbelievable stuff from her. Yeah. Bib 47, first World Cup since March 23, up 13 places with the fastest second run, should I say. And in the end, only missed the podium by 600ths. Yeah. Pretty special from her. Nina O'Brien also was a big winner. Bib 28, up 14 places in the second run into 7th. And Moltzan topped it off to complete 4 Americans in the top 11. And for a period until the men got underway, they were very much top of the Nations Cup.
Yeah, it's good to see O'Brien back, though, isn't it? It's good to see Nina O'Brien back. She's a good skier.
Good skier. Ian, you wanted to touch on Leensberger in 8th before we move to the best Austrian of the day.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really smart ski. I think that obviously the Americans, Brignone, Robinson, Scheib getting the headlines, but I think Leensberger's both of her runs, I thought tactically looked pretty switched on. It looked like an athlete skiing with a little bit of confidence. We know slalom's her thing. Didn't really talk about her too much in the preview, did we? But there was just a few signs there. You don't come 8th in a World Cup in GS in Solden if you're not doing things pretty well. And I was just impressed. Her start number's pretty good in GS anyway. I think she started bib 12. So she's got those advantages, but you got to take advantage. And I felt she just skied a really nice race, and it just showed me a few signs like, okay, she might be getting getting closer to where she wants to be, which is fighting for the slalom globe, I would say.
Yeah.
I want to go on.
I was just going to say I've been waiting for it to come good. All last season, I kept mentioning it, didn't I?
It was that podium in Levy, and it was like, right, now do it again.
Yeah.
And she didn't. But maybe that is the sort of foundation in the very first race of the season that you can take to Levy, where you know you've got a good record, and start something pretty special in a World Championship year, where, what will it be, 4 years ago, she took 3 medals in Cortina, and a couple of golds. So, you know, she might be an outsider for a couple of medals again this time.
Now, all I would add on her from last season is, like, we're so used to seeing her podium 2 seasons back, 3 seasons ago. She wasn't that far off. She's still dropping in its top 10s, top 15s pretty consistently. But because she set such high levels, high expectations, we're sort of guilty of writing her off a little bit. It doesn't need much. Little tweaks around the edges, and she's right up there. And if we could go back and redo the preview now, I think you know, we might see a few more things this year from her in slalom.
Yeah, good.
Well, I was panicking for a large part of the second run, because some of you may recall that in the preview, my outside selection was that Austria will not win a Women's World Cup race. And I'm a bit stupid for repeating it, because some listeners may think, who is this guy and what's he talking about? But Julia Scheib had me on the edge of my seat. They were coming and going, and she was holding that lead and holding the lead. And she ends up taking her first World Cup podium, up 11 places in the second run. The first Austrian woman to take a World Cup giant slalom podium since Leensberger in Linz in December 2019. It has been such a long wait. It was over 1,750 days ago. And those 18,500 supporters that were there were absolutely delighted when Schifrin dropped into 5th to confirm that podium for them on home snow. And she deserves a massive shout out for, again, almost the tactics, the way she skied it. She was frustrated in the finish, shaking her head, and then, you know, drops it in 3rd. It's a great story for her, and maybe she's another one that can kick on from this result over the course of the GS season.
Yeah.
Okay, moving to Lena Dier, because she had her first World Cup giant slalom top 10 for nearly 13 years, since Aspen 2011. In 10th, she was 1.56 seconds behind Brignone, but some of the brilliantly gifted giant slalom skiers she was ahead of is true testament. The likes of Hector managed 15th, the Olympic GS champion. Bassino was 13th. And, you know, maybe she's going to try out the GS a bit more, considering she's in the top 10 in the first race. Also flying the German flag was Fabiana Dorigo to score her first World Cup points in 24th. Couple of other mentions: Estelle Alphon getting back in the points, 23rd from bib number 49. And how about this one, guys? Wendy Holdener on her World Cup return, tied 25th. A nice start to the season in terms of points after a difficult injury and emotional time off after her brother passed away. And it was great to see her back, wasn't it, Al?
Yeah, it was indeed. Yeah, because she's really good. She's another good athlete.
Yeah,
another very good athlete.
She was on the slalom podium in Killington, and since then she's been waiting for her 50th World Cup podium. Picked up the injury in Mont Tremblant, and this was her first World Cup race back. Ian, could you see her making it 50 this year?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You got to believe in her. She's quality. Another athlete that's experienced and hungry as well, I think, coming back. It was a really nice ski from her. Like she got in there. What bib was she? I'll just check it out. She was bib 25, finished 25th. A difficult place to start on that hill, because, like, you know, it's cut up a little bit. Conditions I felt were better for the men's race than they were for the women's race underfoot. That was my reading of it. It's 2050. You really attack it where you could start making some big mistakes, or you try and play it safe, but you don't know who's to come. Turned out there was some seriously fast Americans in the form of Katie Hensian that was starting after her. So it's a pretty smart race. Time gap was quite big, but I think she probably wanted the points, just going through the motions, get the feeling back. All right, Solden's done now, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, isn't it? And then it's the 2 slaloms. And yeah, I think she's got every chance this season. I will not be surprised if you see her on the podium in a few weeks' time, even. You never know.
Yeah, I think she's consistently been better in slalom over her GS.
Yeah,
and I could probably actually see her dropping a podium in Levy or Kurgel, in all honesty.
They're those type of hills. We'll find out how the women get on in Kurgel. Obviously saw the men's race last year. I think it's a pretty tricky hill, and the conditions as well could make it quite interesting, depending on how they get the snow to set up. Levy's going to be a bit more traditional. Well, it has, I think, been warmer than they would like in Levy at this time of year. But they'll turn it around. I'm sure they'll turn it around. So I think she's got as good a chance as anyone in Levy. There's going to be people ski out. There's going to be slalom, isn't it? There's going to be things happen. But she's good enough to get on the podium with everybody there. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think when you said about Ian, about the ladies had a rougher time than the men on Saturday. I think in the second run at lunchtime, the sun was so strong and it really softened up the bottom, and they were getting green lights at the top, and then losing it all when they got into the mixtures. You know,
it's that type of hill, isn't it? Solden. It's what makes it actually such a intriguing GS hill, especially for a glacier. It's got that start section, then you hit that pitch, and then you got to work the bottom. And if it goes wrong on that pitch, all that time is bleeding away. Just even a small mistake on that steep section, and boom, half a second can go in a blink of an eye on that bottom section. So it's a tough hill. It's a great hill for watching racing.
I mentioned that it has been 17 years since an Italian woman won 3 consecutive giant slaloms. That was Denise Carbon. Solden, Panorama, Linz and Spindler-Lubben-Linn, actually, between October 07 and January 08. She also won in Off the Schwang, Germany, later in that January. So, you know, sort of 17 years. That's nearly my lifetime since that was last accomplished.
She was a great ski racer, coming off the back of Deborah Compagnoni, who really drove. She was one that was one of the first to go onto shaped skis, actually, around about 97, 98, if memory serves me correctly. And then you had Isolde Kostner as well, and Denise Carbon. There was this great line of Italian ski racers that has been for many, many years, and Brignone, Goggia continued that, and I think overall the Italian squads across the disciplines are very, very good right now. There's been some smart work done by the Italian Federation behind the scenes, and everything's structured, from what I can see, very well. And a lot of athletes seem in a very good place.
They did have 3 in the top 20 on Saturday. Bassino, 13th, maybe not the start that she would have wanted, but she's there. And Asya Zener coming from, I think, 29 maybe on Saturday into 20th. The fact that you mentioned those races, and Brignone, Bassino, even Goggia haven't done it since Carbon. Tells you just how special that is. I think Bassino's probably had it 3 times where she's won a couple on the bounce. Brignone did the double in Mont Tremblant last year, but to have 3 and 4 in Killington would be where she's won last year in Mont Tremblant, getting on for some sort of much bigger records.
She goes into Killington as a favourite, doesn't she?
Yeah,
she has to be.
I suppose so.
Has to be. The way she's skiing right now, who's going to bet against her? She's not going to have it all her own way, but yeah, you mark her down as the favourite for Killington.
we probably will, because it seems like we're not going to pick her and we just don't want any points. And then when we will pick her, she's not going to win. I wanted to touch on Alice Robinson before we move on to the men's, because her consistency is looking incredible. That is 4 second place finishes in GS in the last 5 races. Of course, Brignone's won 3 of those, as we've said. But what is the missing piece in the puzzle to take her back to the top, do you think? Because she's skiing well. She was second in the first run, finished second, and she's only 1700ths off the win. And I know she's been even closer at the back end of last season. But it just seems like, I don't know, that she's not quite ready to win again. I don't know.
It could be that Brignone is
they're just
that bit faster.
The people ahead of her are just obviously so good. Brignone, Gut-Behrami, Schifrin. It's not like you should be looking at that disappointed that she's not had a victory. But 11 World Cup podiums now, 1 here as a 17-year-old in Solden in 2019. But can you see her winning this season, Ian?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's only 22 now, and maybe part of why she hasn't won so much. She had so much success early.
Yeah,
that can be hard to deal with. She's been fairly consistent, a few little blips here and there, but certainly from the back end, midpoint of last season, maybe even earlier than that, she's looked good. We're in an era where women's giant slalom skiing, women's ski racing as a whole, is exceptional.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Of course, we're missing Petra Vlhova. She can win in GS.
Yeah.
We know that. We've got Brignone, Schifrin, obviously.
Valgrenier.
Valgrenier, Bassino's won in GS. Sarah Hector's in there as well. It's not easy to win, and if you're racking up second place, third place results, top 5s, you're in the mix. Sometimes you just need a bit of luck. But she's only 22. And I think, as Nick said last week, she's got a good team around her. They're playing into the all black theme a little bit. If she feels comfortable, which obviously she does, 0.17 off. That's not a lot, is it? And that second run, just a little bit more aggression, maybe she could have had it. But she's putting herself in a position to win races, and as a ski racer, I only ever won one race. It was a pretty small race, but when you do that, the confidence will come. She won't mind finishing second every week, as long as she's in the position to win. And finishing second every week on the World Cup Tour pays the bills, and it's going to bring you globes as well at some point.
She's going to get
but
there.
it's so good to have her in there, and also New Zealand represented up on the podium as well for the Southern Hemisphere nations.
Very good. Well, there is a lot that we have digested, and there's still a lot more to digest, and we will take a very quick breather, have a sip of water, and get back to it in just a moment. I'm just going to let that run, and then I'll edit it out, so I can put a bit of music in and edit it a little bit. But pretty much the same for the men. But a couple of comebacks.
Where do we
It's
start?
only your question, haven't you?
Oh, I forgot about that. I'll hamstring. He's got a quiz question for us.
Oh God!
It's
so
easy.
I will hand straight to Alan to ask that at the start when we come back in a moment.
Very easy.
All right.
I don't know.
Right.
I used to remember stuff.
You'll eat it. You'll eat it.
I'll come back in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to our Sölden review, brought to you by Ski Racing Media, and I'm going to hand over to Alan for our weekly quiz question. Go ahead.
Yeah, here we go. Now, this is a simple question for you guys.
Oh no.
And
for us commentators,
because we're coming up to one of my favourite ones, which is Levy. All I'm going to ask you, can you give me the Saturday and Sunday 1, 2, 3 of Levy 23-24?
Okay. Do you want to take Saturday and I'll do Sunday, Ian? I feel like you might have commentated these races.
I commentated. What did I commentate last year? It was the women's races, wasn't it? It was the women in action in Levy, not the men. Yeah, Saturday. I mean, I'll take Sunday.
So I know it was Vlhova on Saturday.
Yes.
It was Vlhova, Schifrin. Oh no.
Maybe it's not as easy as I thought it would be.
No, because I know that Vlhova fell on the Sunday, and that's why Ian's asked to do that.
That's why I took it. Yeah.
Was Leensberger on the podium on Saturday or Sunday?
Oh.
Anyone watching on YouTube will be able to spot our reactions here.
Saturday.
Leensberger
was third.
She was third, yeah. Who was second?
Joe.
Correct.
Yes.
Shifrin was fourth, actually.
Shifrin was fourth.
Yeah.
Ian, Sunday.
I'm really wishing I took Saturday because I knew that. Yeah, so obviously Schifrin won it. I think Lena Durr was on the podium both days.
Yes, she was.
But was she second or third?
Yeah.
Second on Sunday. Second on Sunday. Who got third?
She was third on Sunday.
Third on Sunday. So who got second on Sunday?
This is a hard one.
It wasn't Holdener.
No.
I'm looking at my list. Oh no. What nation?
Well, you get it if I give you that.
Oh
yeah.
It's
was it? Oh,
Popovic, yeah. And the fourth was
because I was thinking, who's a team with not very many races?
Yeah.
And I thought Croatia, Lutic. No, she didn't get a podium till February, whenever it was. So Popovic, yeah.
And the fourth was Sarah Hector.
We cheat in commentary. We cheat. You know, it's not all in our heads. You know, we've got cue cards on everything. Good question, though, Alan. Good question.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it might be a good warmer ready for
Levy.
Yeah,
very.
Yeah,
well, let's hope it isn't a warmer because it needs to cool down.
All right.
Let's get to Sunday because there is so much to talk about here. And I will start with the first run. Before the first run, like Meillard was absent, the DNS for him, like it was for Switzerland and Gut-Behrami the day before, was announced just minutes before the start of this race. And when it came to his compatriot and team captain, Marco Odermatt, bib number 1, absolute favourite, went sliding down the Rettenbach to 73 starters' delight behind him, because it opened the doors like the floodgates haven't been opened in men's GS for some time. It was Alexander Steen Olsen who took the first run initiative. It was so tight though. Filip Zubcic 200ths off the pace. Kristoffersen 800ths off the pace. Atli McGrath was 5th, half a second behind. I believe the top 10, there was only 1 second separating the lot of them. But then there were some bigger bib numbers to talk about in the first run. Bib number 34, dropping the wild card in at the earliest opportunity, Marcel Hirscher, 34, skied into 26th, qualified in 28th to be in that second run. Then came Lucas Pinheiro Bratton from bib 41 for his new nation, Brazil. He skied into 19th, and that guaranteed that the two returnees would be in run number 2. From that second run, Hirscher skied into 2nd, only behind Sweden's William Hansen at the time. Turned out he had the 3rd best second run of the lot and moved up 5 positions in the second run to 23rd. Without giving too much away about the rest of the race, fellas, I think that is exactly what Hirscher and his team would have wanted in the second run. In the points, all right, not the big points. He said it would be a miracle if he was in the second run, and miracles happen when it's Marcel Hirscher, Alan.
Yeah, I thought he did very well, and I would agree with you. I think he'd be quite happy with that, because to him it was a test, I think, and because he he sort of lived there with the top 30. I think he's quite happy with that, to be quite honest, and the performance of the Landiers.
I agree. I think he didn't give much away coming in, did he? And didn't give too much away after. He was quite emotional. The interviews that I've seen, it would have been a big moment for him. There's a fantastic crowd that was there. Just ski racing at its absolute best. And the viewing figures from Austrian TV have been exceptional as well, particularly for the men's race. I wonder why that was. But we don't know how many other races he's going to do. That's going to be the big question now. But I loved how he approached it. Immediately, you could see him generating speed that no other guys were doing. The angles, the precision that he has on the first run, he really attacked it. I think it was good, very, very good on the top. Steep section, couple of little mistakes, but the conditions, when was the last time Hirscher started 34th in a race? Forgetting that, that was not something he had to deal with on first runs for a very, very, very long time. And he skied it really smart. He took a lot of risk, actually, I felt. And there was one or two little errors in there that are going to be there. But the second run, he unleashed even more. And he could have been quicker because there was, again, just a couple of little errors. But I felt, I've got it on record as well, that he was going to be in the top 5 on the second run. And sure enough, I don't read too much into that because it's pretty tough out there when the course gets beaten up. But he showed all the skills to be successful. It's a question now for start number if he keeps racing.
Yeah.
Will, the thing is, if he can be third in a second run, why can't he be third in a first run? All right, conditions, he was third to go in the second run, but if he can get himself in there with consistent points, then why not start Levy and Gurgle and test out the slalom skills? Then you know exactly where you're at, and you know that you can make up that 1.6 seconds to the podium over the course of a few months. He's going to be tweaking and tweaking that equipment at every single run, at every single training day.
Yeah,
I think it's take it away, Alex.
No, you're right.
I was just going to say, we talked about it in the preview. I think one or two people saying that, he's got no chance. He's been away. I'm like, this is Marcel Hirscher. He is one of the best to ever do this sport. And he kept training, he kept skiing because Van Diers obviously have someone like Hirscher to set those, to tune those skis up and get them going. I'm not surprised. I thought he'd probably do a little better, actually. I thought the first run held him back a little bit. I was never a massive Hirscher fanboy when he was racing, but I just loved this storyline. I always, loved watching him. But yeah, I think Gurgle, actually, I got a feeling that might have a little bit of a Chamonix of last season feel to it. Because of the altitude, the conditions. I think I don't know if you want to be going last on that second run unless you've got a huge lead. Just my gut feeling. I don't know. It might get a little rough and bumpy. And so, if he's starting, if he does it and he's starting round about 34 again, get in early second run. Yeah, he's got chances. Marcel Hirscher he's always going to have a chance in a race. Levy might be different with the conditions there, but it should hold up better on the first run in Levy than. But again, Gurgle could be solid ice all for both runs. Depends what happens with the weather and the next couple of weeks. But if he runs a full program slalom and GS, which we all hope as ski racing fans that he does, I think I'm on record as saying he hits the podium this season. I don't think it will happen more than once. I think it will happen more than once. I don't think he's that far away at all.
I agree entirely.
If you had asked me on Thursday when we were talking to Nick, I would have said no. But after seeing that, then I can believe that he can make up that time. He can make those tweaks. Just you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're talking about Marcel Hirscher. Marcel Hirscher was one of the best there's ever been, technically and up here as well. So you're not going to tell me that he hasn't come back with the full knowledge that he's got a chance to get on the podium. He knows what times people are doing. He knows what times he's capable of. I know it's different when you get in a race atmosphere and with a crowd, but he's the type of athlete who will be lifted by the atmosphere.
Yeah, he thrives.
Yeah. So I think he'll be on the podium.
And do you not think also that he could go to any athlete on the tour and they would tell him how they're getting on? Like he could get any insight that he wanted and could get any information that the team needed in terms of those tweaks and improvements. Obviously, there's not many on the Van Diers, but I just think that he's not gonna let himself keep missing out on the top 20.
No.
You know, he might even take a couple of weeks off, look again at the equipment and go again, and you know that he's going to come back and just keep. It's just going to be like season's best, and he's going to edge closer and closer.
You've always got to remember also that Kristoffersen was successful on the Van Diers. So that will be a pointer as well, because they're working closely together, aren't they?
Yeah. I think
with Hirscher, he's just. What I was going to say was there must be some really, really frustrated athletes that see the guy being away for 5 years. Yeah, you could talk about the start number 34, and he's had that advantage, but I'd say he's earned that advantage by being as good as he was. As I think we say, could have nipped to New Zealand, got some points maybe, and worked his way in because it's the Netherlands, not Austria. But there's guys that have been battling away so hard. He's away for 5 years and he comes back and he skis like that. That's going to annoy some people, I would think. He's going to if he keeps racing, because it wasn't clear from what I've read in the interviews how many races he's going to do. Nobody outside Marcel Hirscher's team have said and will know what he's going to do. He might not even know yet. He might be taking it day by day.
I think the reception he got, you would have thought he was still skiing for Austria.
Well, they don't forget, do they?
No.
They don't forget. They understand, and the decision that he made was for the Austrians, in a sense. To do that. So he's still Marcel Hirscher. And it was interesting that you see the jackets he was wearing and the suit. He didn't. I thought he might have leaned a bit more into the Netherlands, but he didn't quite brand himself up as I thought he might, or maybe a few people thought would see him in a Dutch catsuit. The colours were there a little bit, but it was very much privateer looking outfit he was wearing.
We all wanted bright orange. And talking about Brighton, which we'll very quickly come to, where's the bright green? I mean, he's wearing this sort of dark blue with green zigzag stripes, but let's not talk about his race suit. Let's talk about his racing, because that was brilliant. He went 19th, bid 41, as I said, moves up and is leading until the final 5 are ready to ski. And then, as we know, McGrath takes the lead from him and he runs over to him, gives him a massive hug. Of course, they were such good friends together on the Norwegian team. And I've forgotten the best bit about it all is little samba dance in the finish.
Well,
every time I've gone on Instagram in the last 24 hours, that clip has popped up somewhere.
I'm going to go on and post it again just to see it another time.
And I've watched it every time, all the way through.
It's great. It's what we've said. It's what many other people have said, is that he does things his own way. He's doing things his own way. He brings a different style, mentality to ski racing. That transcends that samba. You say you're seeing it every time. That means loads of other people that are not into ski racing necessarily are maybe seeing it as well, knowing how the social media algorithms work. So if more and more people are seeing a guy samba dancing, what's this sport? This is cool. These guys are having fun. Maybe we get a few more viewers. Maybe we get some. Maybe the sport generates more sponsorships. Able to, it's thinking big. But that's the difference when you got a character like Pinheiro Braten in there. He can transcend the sport a little bit. I think that's a very good thing for ski racing.
Absolutely. He has absolutely grabbed Brazil by the scruff of the neck and embraced it. Like, he's bringing a whole new dynamic. This is something that not many sports have seen. All right, you've got the likes of Ronaldinho and Neymar have done it in football, but you know, beach volleyball, they're pretty good. But in terms of snow sports, this is a whole new idea for a massive nation and a massive population that are going to look at that. All right, he's on snow and he's in a ski suit, but he's representing our country and he's representing our culture.
They'll love him. They'll absolutely love him. And, you know, their hero to this day in that country, obviously Pele, but, you know, there's Senna. You know, you meet any Brazilian in a bar when you're old enough, Matt. You know, you just want to talk about Senna, you know, and he is revered to this day. They idolize their sporting heroes in a way that very few other nations do. And if he starts delivering big success, we're looking to world champs and looking at the big show in 2026, that guy will be carried around the streets of Rio on a chair if he comes back with some gold, even a silver or a bronze from Milan or Cortina. He'll be in Brazil for months, shaking hands with everyone's going to want to shake his hands or samba dance with him. And I think it's fantastic for the sport. I really do. We need to be tapping into new markets, new fan bases, and what an athlete, what an individual that we have to be able to do that.
Yeah. And he's a bloody good ski racer.
Oh yeah, we haven't really talked about his skiing yet. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Up 15 places in that second run, and wasn't too far off the most special of returns in terms of a podium. But there was a nation that stole that show and that dance. McGrath, as I said, took the lead from Bratton. There were still 4 to ski. Kristoffersen came down 1/100th quicker than his compatriot. And then it was Pipo Zubcic, who I think was probably the most likely to win going into the second run. 200ths off Steen Olsen, who we know can have a bit of a wobble in the second run. Zubcic, we know, was going to go all-out attack on a slope that he hasn't had great results at, but that is there to be attacked. And he didn't finish. It was a bit of a similar story to Odermatt in the first run. Then came Steen Olsen, and Alan, he took the win with the sort of second run skiing we just haven't seen from him.
He's an excellent skier. He's got great technique, and I've been saying for a long time, and if he could put 2 runs together, he would be dangerous to anybody. You know, and I think even, you know, I mean, this might be a bit off the rails a bit, but even if Odermatt had been there, I think it would have been a very, very close affair. Basically,
yeah.
Well,
I don't agree. I just think if Odermatt finishes both runs,
yeah, I mean that.
He's won.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, based off the last 3 seasons, every time he's done that, he's won.
Yeah, but we all appreciate that Odermatt's a superb athlete. We all appreciate that. And only is a good skier. His management skills are good as well. But have we ever seen him under real pressure?
I mean,
you know,
most races, World Championships, Olympics.
No, under challenging pressure.
All right, yeah, no.
Skiing when you don't know,
you know,
you're going out there and you think maybe that was on his mind a weekend.
I think it was.
You know,
I
wonder whether Pinheiro, Bratton, and Marcel Hirscher got in his head.
Well, who knows? I mean, he's a young man and he's a very, very good athlete and he's a very sensible guy. But you know these little things. Because let's face it, it was a pretty basic mistake he made, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't. You wouldn't expect him.
No.
He does sometimes make them, but he usually recovers very well. You know.
Anyway, talking about that podium, we're just going on with ourselves here, and there's still so much to talk about. Atterley McGrath was so frustrated in the leader's position when Kristoffersen took it from him, and maybe also frustrated because he knew that Bratton's podium was at risk. a 10th World Cup podium for him in third, and third in giant slalom. The half beard, like the high jumper Gianmarco Tamberi, worked, but he has now shaved it off. He's shaved it off.
You'd have to, haven't you?
Hey, yours would look pretty good, Ian.
I could do a half beard, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
See if you win a World Cup.
What sport? We might need to invent a sport.
Kristoffersen seemed like he was back to something near his best. With those Van Deer tweaks from Hirscher, as that set Kristoffersen on his way again. One World Cup GS podium last season. He's already got one for the new campaign. Could you see Kristoffersen? I think we said he was annoyed at times last year, but he was fourth in the overall. His consistency is getting on for ridiculous. But can he hit that podium week in, week out, and can he be a challenger for the Globes again?
He looked in a much better frame of mind.
He was smiling.
Yeah, he looked much happier with what he was doing. Whether it's because Ace is back or whether it's because he's finally got a good setup, you know.
Notice that he hasn't changed the boots from last season.
No.
It's sort of the edges and the way the skis have been sorted out for him.
That's going to help. That's going to help with Ace skiing as well, racing as well.
Yeah.
They're going to be bouncing off each other, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you pardon the pun.
Yeah.
And
they're going to get a lot of feedback. They already have that. I'd say the differences between the skis that these men and women are skiing on are pretty small. It's your personal preference, how you like that ski set up, especially at the absolute top end of the sport. I've always said it, if you get Happy Henrik, he's a dangerous athlete, and he just looks like we've got Happy Henrik back.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene? We're going back maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago when the snowballs were getting thrown at him at the Schladming night race, and he didn't look happy, and he came back the following season. He was looking a bit more chilled out. Last year wasn't there. This year, he's so far, we've only seen one race. It's Solden. It's early season. How much should we read into it? A little bit, but he if it goes well, Levi Gurgel, and he's up there top 5 podium, he's going to be fighting for Globes. Yeah. He's going to be fighting for Globes. He's too good not to. And it was, for me, it's gone under the radar a little bit. That performance, although it's still second place. It's sort of lost in the whole 1, 2, 3 Norway, 4th Brazil with the former Norwegian competitor, but that's Henrik Kristoffersen in there in second place, and we know what he can do. And it was just such a smart ski. I'm just looking at the times, first run and second run. He was a little off where he'd want to be on the second run, maybe, but it was just smart skiing. And that is going to bring him, I think, a lot of success. He'll have to attack it more in slalom, really attack it in slalom to get the wins. But GS, you got to play the game sometimes, and he looked like he did that really, really well.
Yeah, you mentioned there in the Norwegian hat trick.
Yeah,
it's the first time they've done that in a World Cup since Val Gardena. 18th of December 2015, the Super G, when it was Svindal, Jansrud, and Kilde, is the first time it's ever been done in a men's World Cup giant slalom, which I think
dream start.
And this might sound a little bit harsh, but it's the perfect scenario for Norway. They've got a 1, 2, 3, and the guy that they fell out with was 4th. You know, as harsh as that might sound, and as much as we want Pinheiro Bratton to be up there and doing the stuff for Brazil that we talked about, you know, Norway will be pretty happy.
Oh yeah,
I think, to be honest, I don't think they'll care about Pinheiro Bratton. I don't think they care. I think the individual athletes will. Obviously, McGrath is one of his big friends, and they're still friends. They will care. From the federation's point of view, it is about dealing in victories, and they don't care who's in 4th because they are pretty ruthless federation. They have their targets, but it's good. It's fun to see. Nobody would have predicted a Norway 1, 2, 3, would they? Stick your hands up if you did. Get in touch, because well done if you did predict that.
No, you didn't.
I
Nearly.
mean, I remember watching like two of the out-and-out greats of ski racing, and Lassitius and Kjetil André Amat, and so I was used to it as a kid growing up. I got to meet Amat once. I was like hero of mine, and the longevity that those guys had was remarkable. But I was quite used to seeing two Norwegians always up at the top end of the podium, so it's nice to see the three of them there in GS. I thought, it was just a great storyline that's come out of the race.
And they've got some other good ones coming up as well. That's the good thing for them.
They have a pipeline of talent coming through. There's one or two challenges always, as every nation has in the developing with the funding and things, but they have a very, very good sporting structure in Norway. They invest in the right places. Coaching is treated fully as a profession, which not every nation does. So the highly educated coaching workforce, even when it's parents, friends, whoever that's coming in to help with a club at a weekend, they're still given the right tools to do that. So they're instilling fantastic things early on in any athlete's journey, whatever the sport they choose to do. And they're always going to be up there. And it's a question. It puts the pressure on them, though, doesn't it? In going into the next race, it's like, all right, I mean, they're not going to top that unless they keep doing it in GS all season.
Yeah, I mean, all three of those guys could do it again in slalom. You've got Haugen there as well, who was tied 12th. Vindingstad as well going in the GS. But I'll rip you through the other standout performances from Sunday. Alex Vinatsa tied his World Cup Giant Slalom personal best in 5th, up 18 places. No, that's not right. No, up 8 places in the second run. Patrick Fwurston for a third World Cup top 10, up 6 places in the second run to 8th. He was the second highest Austrian behind Raphael Haase. I mentioned Haugen, he was tied with Sam Mason 12th. Then you have got William Hansen, a huge World Cup personal best for him and Sweden, 18th place, up 12 positions in the second run, and was only beaten in run 2 by Lucas Pinheiro Bratton. We mentioned Meillard's blow to his back. But what about Christian Borgnes, who had a DNF on the pitch? He's actually broken his hand on the gate. The joint was out of position. He's been in hospital nearby. All being well, back on snow in the next 4 weeks, and hopefully will return in Beaver Creek. Now it's time for Alan to be a little bit smug. I don't give him these opportunities very often, but he has done pretty well in the podcast predictions and a little bit worse in the FIS Predictor Challenge. So we'll start with our predictions, which we had the podium and an outsider, Alan and I and Nick last week. So he did select Gut-Behrami, but on Saturday morning I allowed him to change that, and he just slid everyone forward. So Brignone was in first, with Schifrin in second and Robinson third. So he picked up 5 points for Brignone and the 1 for Robinson. And this is probably the prediction of the week. Alexander Steen Olsen to get on the podium. He obviously won. He's got a point for that. And he actually said Vinatsa is the rank outsider. So he's got another 2 for that.
Knows his stuff. No, he knows his stuff.
Does he?
I think so.
Thanks,
just been proven this weekend.
8 points for you. I got 1 for Robinson, 1 for Brignone, and none on the men's. And Nick only got 1 point at all.
That's how it do. That's how it goes, isn't it?
But Ian is employed by Nick, so he's not going to comment on that.
I've discussed ski racing and predictions with Nick many, many times, so I'll drop him a message.
FIS Predictor Challenge, our league, I think there are 12 members. You can still join. The link will be available in the next weeks leading up to Levy on the Instagram at Skinners Believing Podcast. It's a league that Ian is actually in, and you sit 6th, Ian.
Yeah, but I think I'm ahead of Britt Tilston and Blaise Giesendanner. I'm assuming Blaise G is Blaise Giesendanner. Incidentally, Blaise, if you're listening, I still think you would be amazing at ski cross. Not that I should be pinching any alpine athletes, but Blaise, I know you've done it. I remember Val Thorens. What year was it? 2010. You beat a couple of my boys in a FIS race. Come give it a go if you fancy it. He's an awesome ski racer. I think Blaise is a fantastic skier. So yeah, I'm ahead of a couple of legends of skiing, so I'm happy with that. It's a solid start.
You're looking now, aren't you? I'm ahead of two people with World Cup podiums, so I'm happy.
You're doing very well, Matt.
Alan, you picked up 514 points and sit third, but I am 12 points ahead. In second, only behind Switzerland's Gail Jacquet, who actually runs the Lila La Pagna fan page over on Instagram. So shout out to him. He picked up 544 points this weekend. Very well done, considering you got 18 more than me. You've got to be doing pretty well.
You can just make a note, actually, that I shall bridge that gap with the next weekend ski.
Yes, all right. Well, there are also overall predictions that you can do if you head to the FIS Predictor Challenge. I think they expire on New Year's Eve, so there's plenty of time to get those in. I'm sure I'll be adjusting a few when I've seen a few races as well.
Oh yeah, we can still change them, can't we?
Yes, we can.
Oh yeah,
I don't think maybe. I will.
Wait till we get to Christmas and you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure about my.
When everybody's back as well.
Yeah.
Because you've got, Pontoal and Vlova who are maybe back in December, which could make a difference.
Yeah. I'm just looking here, and I think we have ticked all of the boxes. So another thank you to Ian for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And
pleasure.
The way it's looking, it won't be the last time you're on the podcast this season.
Well, I'm very happy to join, and thank you again for inviting me on. And we got a couple of weeks off, and then it's about to get wild, isn't it? With the races are going to come thick and fast, so time for a lie down for everyone. And thanks again, guys, and look forward to listening throughout the rest of the season.
Yes. Thank you so much. You enjoy this. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have got a couple of interview episodes coming out before we preview Levy from Levy. How about that? That will be Friday the 15th of November, if I am correct.
Yeah.
One day before the women's slalom, which is the next World Cup event, and Alan and I will be there. Sorry to rub that one in, Ian, who will be watching from somewhere there. All right. Thank you very much for listening, and we will ski you later.
Ski you later. Thank you.